Do the Dodgers have potential to go back-to-back World Series champions in 2025? This is the question we're going to answer today to see if this team could actually do it. Because the Dodgers are currently 4-0 in this postseason. I'm recording this right after that game 2. And obviously they played really good versus the Reds. And they were able to sweep that series, basically doubling what they put on them. They scored 18 runs in 2 games in that series, which is pretty impressive. And then in this Phillies series, they've looked really good. They've had some clutch hitting, some good moments. And they're heading 2-0 back to LA. So I definitely think that series is probably going to wrap up where it stands, but let's just talk about this team on paper, because this team's hitting potential is actually insane. Like, I feel like people have talked about it a lot already, but when you actually think about it, their hitting potential is just crazy. Because even if we look at all their stats, right, I mean, every single player on this team can really be that guy. You look at game 1, it was pretty much Teoscar Hernandez. He got most of those RBIs, and then obviously Kiki Hernandez also got the other pair of those RBIs in game 1. And then in game 2, they just had a really good 7th inning, some good clutch hitting from that. Obviously Will Smith getting that really good key base hit that he got to bring in all those runs. But it's just a great team effort on the hitting side that this team has. And I really do think that this hitting potential is pretty good, because even if all the players are not firing, like if you actually look at the stats, you can see a couple of the players having some 0-4 games, but then the rest of the guys are going to pick it up for them, which you don't really see on a lot of the other teams in the league. The Dodgers, I feel like they always have like one player that shines, but then everyone else in the team is at least putting in the work to make that person shine, you know, with getting on base, right? So then Will Smith could get up and hit those guys in, or you have Tio hitting that home run with getting those guys on base, and then he does the cleanup work to able to get those runs across. They just look like such a well-oiled machine on the hitting side. And that's just talking about the Phillies series. Obviously versus the Reds, it was a big team effort. I mean, everyone was on that team just destroying the Reds. I mean, putting up 10 runs in that first game and then 8 runs in the second game was just absolutely phenomenal. So like, the hitting potential is definitely there. Next, I want to talk about their fielding, because their fielding's actually been pretty good, especially on that bunt in game 2. That was kind of something that was under talked about, I think, in that 9th inning, is the Phillies had a man on second and they were down by 1 and they decided to bunt for some reason. Still don't know why they did that, by the way. But anyways, there's a great play by Max Muncy and Mookie Betts to be able to get to their respective areas. So Max Muncy could get the ball and then throw it right to Mookie Betts. And it was actually really cool seeing in the replays, because as soon as he shows bunt, you just see both guys start crashing down, which is what you want to do on a bunt. So just a really good executed defense, and the defense has been pretty good. They haven't really made any errors yet. I mean, all the games they played in, I don't think they've made 1 error in the postseason, which is definitely good. So the fielding's been pretty good. Let's talk about the pitching as well. The pitching potential is also very solid on this team, especially when we talk about the starting pitching and all those guys. I mean, Snell has been great this whole postseason. I mean, he's pitched in 2 of the games so far. He's looked absolutely incredible. He's only given up a couple runs. And obviously versus the Phillies, he had 9 strikeouts, which is pretty impressive. And he just pitched really well, pitched absolutely phenomenal. And also, I will say Ohtani's first start was pretty okay. I mean, he did let up those runs, so that wasn't ideal for him, but he also had 9 strikeouts as well. So he also had a really good time. And I really do want to mention Tyler Glasnow and Roki Sasaki coming out of the bullpen. I think seeing them out of the bullpen is very smart for reasons we'll talk about in just a minute, but they also looked really good coming out of the bullpen. Normally, not something they normally do. I think Glasnow, it was like since 2018 since he came out of the bullpen, which is pretty crazy to think about. And then Roki Sasaki, it's obviously his first year in the league, so he's coming out of the bullpen looking very solid for these saves he's gotten. So I definitely think using Roki Sasaki as their closer, I think, has worked out really well for him. But the pitching, once again, has looked very solid this whole postseason. Yeah, and obviously Yamamoto is going to be going for game 3, and he obviously pitched last versus the Reds in that game 2. He once again was pretty solid, also had 9 Ks. He didn't let up any earned runs, but 2 of the guys he had on did score for him. So he still had a 0 ERA technically let up to 2 runs. But he had a really good performance against the Reds, and I think he'll do just as good, honestly, at home. Pretty much same circumstance as the Red series was. Obviously with some better hitters, because the Phillies are a better team, but still, I think the Dodgers, man, they just look very solid right now. And the only thing that's going to hold them back, I think, is the bullpen, actually. This is the main talking point about this Dodgers team, where I think they're going to get held back, is that bullpen, and that's why they're using some of that starting pitching in that bullpen, because their September was not really good in that bullpen. I mean, Tanner Scott and Blake Treinen blew a lot of the games in September, so that was definitely something worrying to think about. But I will say the only shining piece in this bullpen has really been Alex Vesta. He's been one of the best players for sure, and we've seen him come in, I think, on almost every single game the Dodgers have played. Yeah, he's came in every single game, and he's gotten some outs for his team, so he's definitely been a solid piece in that pen. But everyone else has been okay or a little bit mediocre at best. So that's why I do like them using that starting pitching in that bullpen, especially because they have so much of it. I mean, when you actually think about their pitching with Blake Snell, Yamamoto, even guys like Clayton Kershaw, Ohtani, Glasnow, Sasaki, I mean, it's just incredible what they built over there. And I definitely think Kershaw could also come out of the bullpen if needed. I think Kershaw might start one of the games when they get to the NLCS, because I definitely think they're going to win this series. Because for the Dodgers, if the Brewers do win, which it does seem like it, they'll be at the first 2 games away, then they'll have the next 3 home, and then the last 2 will be away. So during that little 3-game home stretch they do have, they're going to need another pitcher probably. Or at some point, they might need to start a 4th guy. So I definitely think that's where Kershaw could come in. But he's another guy that could also come out of the pen if needed. But just that bullpen is a little bit worrying as it stands right now. But I think with their starting pitching, they're going to figure out. And, I think Blake Roberts has actually done a pretty good job of managing that bullpen. So we'll definitely see what happens in the future. And then the Dodgers are looking pretty solid where it stands right now. Obviously swept the Reds, looking like they're going to sweep the Phillies. Remember, they're only 9 wins away from going back to back, which hasn't been done in over 25 years since the New York Yankees in 2000. So this is definitely interesting to see if they actually can go back to back for the first time in quite some time. And if they get to the NLCS and they play the Milwaukee Brewers, who also have a 2-0 lead, I definitely think they could beat the Brewers 100%. Just with the way they're playing and they haven't lost any games, they just look really good. But obviously so have the Brewers, so that might be an interesting series. And then if they get to the World Series, we'll see who they play from the American League. The Dodgers are definitely in a good position to get to that World Series, in my opinion. But what's your guys' thoughts on the Dodgers? Do you guys think they could go back to back where they currently stand right now? I definitely think it's possible, just with the way they're playing and how they're moving on all cylinders. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.